How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to One Timers. We had a 2-week hiatus there 2 weeks ago. We had an episode last week, went over the league, went over what I missed. And now we're back. And we're going to start this week with our Beast of the Week. This week, Jason Robertson in 4 games scored 10.6 goals, 4 assists for the Dallas Stars. It's been an absolute insane week for him. He had 3 goals against Philly yesterday in 16 minutes, not a 22, 23-minute night, just 16 minutes, gave you a hat trick. Against Montreal, 2 goals and 1 assist, 3-point night. 3 points 3 times this week. That's why you're Beast of the Week. And this week, if I'm not mistaken, he's plus 7 in the last 7 days. So that's an insane stat line. Ottawa gave you a goal, 2 assists. In Seattle, he gave you a point. What a disappointing game just to give you a point, huh? Hate to hear that, your Beast of the Week's only giving you a point. And we're just going to bring in the banners for you to make sure you follow me on Instagram at Blake Korn. I'll usually post a little like questionnaire. See if you want to give me your hockey thoughts, any takes that you have. We've had some pretty absurd ones. But there's going to be a take that we're going to have to talk about later on this about Nathan MacKinnon because of how he's played so far this year. Make sure to follow Plug Talk Sports everywhere. And make sure to follow the rest of the guys that help make this possible for me, make this whole Plug Talk universe possible. So I really appreciate you guys. And again, Jonka put it there. So shout out to Jonka. All righty. Back to where we were at. I want to give a shout out to the Global Series, to the Penguins and Predators. Predators take game 1, 2-1. Philip Forsberg scores in front of his home fans, his home country, his countrymen, getting a big goal out there, getting the big cheers. That was a really fun video to watch back. Didn't get to watch that one live because it was early in the morning. Didn't wake up for that. Shocker. But then in game 2, it completely flips. The Pittsburgh Penguins win 4-0. A shutout of the Buffalo. Whoa, he said Buffalo. Nashville absolutely dismembered them. My boy Blake scored for Pittsburgh. Big fan of Blake. We're just giving that one a quick shout out because I want to move to what actually matters, who is Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon, 18 games. He's plus minus is at 18 for the year. Absolutely insane. He has 33 points. And I said we're going to talk about Nathan MacKinnon. This is why I think we should talk about Nathan MacKinnon. Through 18 games, I think he's proven that he's playing as the best player in hockey right now. I think that 9-1 win where he gets 5 points, I believe it was 5. 5 points that's kind of boosting these stats a little, but still at the same time, you're on the ice for a 9-1 win. You should be able to boost your stats. I had Nathan MacKinnon as the 4th best player in hockey in my tier list. I had Makar over him and I had Draisaitl over him. It looks like I was wrong. He's still not won. McDavid's won until if MacKinnon wins a cup in the next 2 years, then he's won. Like you can't doubt it because McDavid won't have a cup and MacKinnon will have 2 cups. But as of right now, McDavid's still won. McKinnon's 2. I'm gonna keep Draisaitl at 3 and not keep Draisaitl at 3. Move him down to 3 and put Makar over at 4. Because Leon Draisaitl was still scoring goals out of a hat, which is crazy. But Nathan MacKinnon is leading this charge from not just playing on the ice more than anyone else out of any other forward in the league. He's giving you 21 and a half minutes a night on the ice. He's also making every single minute out there count. He plays PK. He plays power play. He's out there 5-on-5 the entire game. It's hard to watch the Colorado Avalanche and him not be on the ice. In hockey, it's so hard to get noticed on the ice. It really takes a certain level and specialty of player to you to go like, oh, yeah, I notice him on the ice every single time he goes out for a shift. Nathan MacKinnon's one of them. I think there's only really 15 guys in the NHL you get that from. I went and watched Alex Ovechkin in person. We might need to talk about him at the end of this because that was a tough watch seeing him in person. But Nathan MacKinnon, 14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points in 18 games. He's the lead. Of course, he's in the lead for the Hart. Do we think the 2 young guns, Celebrini, Bedard, could keep up with him and possibly challenge him for a Hart by the end of the season? You watching this, you might have a different opinion. I think there's 0 chance. I think the only person that will be able to catch him for the Hart this year is McDavid. I don't think Draisaitl will be able to catch him. Makar wouldn't beat out MacKinnon on his own team. McKinnon's a forward. He's gonna get more goals than Makar, but Makar's going to have the craziest assist numbers we'll see, of course. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Do I say Nathan McKinnon's 55% on the faceoffs right now? That's wow. I didn't even realize McKinnon was 55% on the faceoffs when I was going over the numbers. What an insane start to the year he's had. If he keeps it up, because we're already over a quarter way through the season now. And Nathan McKinnon is on pace to score how much? Around 160 points at this rate. If this man finishes the year and scores 150 points and basically does what McDavid did a couple years ago and just averaged 2.5 points a night, I mean, we could debate. I could actually have the debate that he's won. I would actually listen, because as of right now, I won't listen. But then I have to be all ears. I'd be a moron not to be all ears, and I'd probably get tomatoes thrown at me. Now, moving on to the story of the year, I think, is the number 1 overall pick, Matthew Schaefer, playing for the New York Islanders. This kid has been an absolute stud. He has 15 points in 18 games for the Islanders, 7 goals, 8 assists, and he just broke an NHL record. As a defenseman, he breaks the record for the youngest player to score an OT winner in NHL history at 18 years old. Think about the absolute studs we've had in just recent years come into the league as an 18-year-old, and they didn't break this record or set this record. You know, you had McDavid come in, McKinnon come in and do it. You know, not even a forward, but Makar came in as a young guy. Jack Eichel came in as a young guy. Sam Reinhart was a third overall pick. He was playing his rookie year. He didn't do it either. All these guys are coming in at 18, and Matthew Schaefer's doing this. Matthew Schaefer's on a terrible Islanders team, and he's playing 22.5 minutes a night. Get that around your head. 22.5 minutes a night. First line defender. He's +3 on a terrible, terrible team. There's not many good things I think you can say about the New York Islanders. They're 10-6-2, but we know at the end of the year where they're going to be. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're not going to be in contention. Matthew Schaefer being on the backside of that team is really hoisting them up. Bo Horvat, he's on 23 points through 18 games. Do we think he's going to be over a point per game player this year? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say no. So, you know, that's just me. But Matthew Schaefer's second on the team in points as a rookie and as a defender. And I've seen him play twice now live, not in person, but on TV. And I've had people tell me about Matthew Schaefer and how good he is. This kid's one of the best defensive skaters we've seen in a little while, probably since Makar coming out of the draft as just a defensive skater. And he's not a small guy like Makar. Schaefer's a pretty big guy. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to pull it up just so I'm not wrong. He's listed at 6'2", 185. That's a big man. That is not someone that you just shove to the side and think like, oh, if you just put a body on him, sure, he's going fast. We'll get him out of the way. No, if you put a body on him, there's a great chance he just goes through you at that size. So on a team that he's, I think, really bringing up to be 10-6-2 at this point, Matthew Schaefer, I think easily is going to win the Calder. I don't think it's going to be very close. I think you're going to have a fun debate over the next 5 years on who would you rather have as a young defender on your team, Lane Hudson or Matthew Schaefer. Kind of depends what you want. But the issue is Matthew Schaefer is great on defense, and he's giving you 15 points in 18 games. He's going to be on pace to score like 68 to 72 points right now in his rookie year. I mean, that could be a possible 90-point score as a defenseman if he can keep up this rate and keep progressing the way a lot of people think he'll be able to. What else did I have in mind? Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman has returned from injury for the Oilers. And I think personally this is going to be a big turnaround for the Oilers. They've been struggling to get a ton of goals. And I think a lot of that comes down to McDavid not having Zach Hyman out there with him, where he knows Zach Hyman is going to be in front of the net. McDavid can create space out on the wing and shovel it inside, and Zach Hyman can just flick it. Take a big plow and just shove it in. He comes back, and he was all over the ice. His first game back had 11 hits. He was all over the boards. I didn't get to watch this game live. Everything I've seen is off an article. And on the article, they're basically saying this guy didn't miss a step. He's the same guy as he was before he was injured, and he's probably going to score 30-plus goals again. And I'm going to be honest, if McDavid gets Zach Hyman and Zach Hyman is playing like he did 2 years ago, I think this could be the Oilers' year, knowing what the Florida Panthers are going through right now, who we'll talk about to end this podcast. But when I say the Oilers are the favorites coming out of the West because they have McDavid and because they've been to back-to-back, I'd actually say it makes them less favorites because they went to back-to-back. If I had to pick a team right now, who would I pick to come out of the West? What do you think? You think Colorado?
Yeah.
I have my producer sitting here, and by producer I mean my friend. You think by a mile it's Colorado?
Yes.
But would you give Dallas any chance?
They'd be my number
2. They're your number 2?
They'd be my number 2.
What about the St. Louis Blues? I heard Jordan Binnington's great. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Liam, they're under. What do you? Well, oh no, you know who I made my pick at the beginning of the year? I don't know if you saw this. I picked Vegas come out of the West.
Yeah, they've got almost the same record as the Panthers.
Yeah, I know. That's a good point. That's a good point. They lost to Minnesota. Sorry, shout out that one. All right, but Zach Hyman gonna lead the way for the Oilers to make a deep playoff push. Maybe even go to 3 straight cups and not win a single one of them. Call them the Bills of the '90s. That's the current day Oilers. But you know what? For the time being, we're gonna say Colorado's the favorite coming out of the West. And then I'd like to hear this actually. Who would you have as a favorite coming out of the East? Because I think the East, there's really like 5 teams that could be this year right now. Because the Panthers' injuries might not even make the playoffs.
Right now, my pick would be Carolina.
You pick Carolina to come out of the East?
I would. They've been
I know,
unreal.
but
they've been unreal, man.
The issue is just like we all have the same issues for 4 years with them because they just don't.
Montreal hasn't been as good.
Yeah.
As I thought they would be.
When you think, because so basically, my pick to come out of the East was if Ottawa can stay healthy, they'll get out of the East because I think their front.
That's the problem.
I think their top 4 defensemen, their front 6 can compete with anyone. Yeah. Speaking of teams that probably should have come out of the East, though.
Right now, they're first in the East.
Yeah. We'll talk about the New Jersey Devils. Jack Hughes is out for 8 weeks because the dummy slices his hand open. Through 18 games, they have 27 points, 13-4-1. It's the same story every year with Jack Hughes. And I think I'm speaking for most NHL fans when I say this. I think everyone wants Jack Hughes to be the top guy. He is someone that could definitely be a face of the league candidate. He can put up over 100 points in a season. He's fun to watch. He flies around. In 17 games this year, he has 20 points and he's a +3. So he was on an absolute roll. But what happened? If you don't know, Jack Hughes is out for 8 weeks. He got surgery on a finger because he was at a team dinner, leaned on a piece of glass apparently, and sliced his hand open. Oh, he was drinking.
A drinking glass.
Oh, he was a drinking glass that did it. Wow, okay.
Knocked it over.
It's even dumber. Oh my God. What is this kid not this kid gets it, all he does is get injured. And it's a shame because you see him for a month and you go, oh my God. Yeah, I see why we think Jack Hughes is probably a top 10 player in hockey, and it's not much of a question. But then he gets injured and you go, well, you can't put him in there because, for another year, he's only going to play 60 games, 55 games, maybe hits 80. If we get lucky in 1 year, he's done that. You said it. I think this is Liam, my friend, by the way. You told me Jack Hughes only played 1 time. He's gotten 80 games, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's terrible. But where do we think New Jersey will finish? Well, they have the GOAT, Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt carried my fantasy hockey team last year, so big shout out to him. Really appreciated that last year. Got me second place in the league to this guy sitting on my side here. They're just not a contender without Hughes. I don't think that's we all know that's not a crazy thing to say. It's just like, yeah, we saw it last year. You're right. We saw it last year. They get to the playoffs. I think what happens to them is the same thing that's happening to the Panthers right now. And we'll start segueing over to a bit of the Panthers talk. Is it's hard for them to really set in the ozone without Jack Hughes because Jack Hughes does so much of that playmaking for him. That first line always, whenever he's out there, is insanely dominant. Can you pull up the stats real quick for New Jersey, actually? Oh, he actually pulled up Luke Hughes' stats. Oh, Luke Hughes has been having a good week.
Yeah,
he's been having a really good week. He's getting. Oh wow, I didn't notice this against the New York Islanders. He gave you 27.5 minutes, gave you a point. Wow. Yeah, no. If this is going to be this could be a big leap year for Luke Hughes. If he's going to have a big leap year, you have to pull it to your screen. This is because the worst take I've ever heard is my buddies play beer league hockey, and we're sitting in the locker room after their game, and one of the morons go, "Oh, Luke Hughes will be better than Quinn Hughes," which that's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Here, we just got the stats up for the Devils. The Devils are averaging 3.3 goals per game. They're giving up 2.9. They're 25% on the power play. Wow. And 85% on the PK. What's going to happen here without Jack Hughes is you're going to go down to 2.7 goals per game. You're probably going to give up 3 goals per game. You're going to go to 17% on the power play. And your PK is going to stay around the same, but it'll probably go down because, you don't have your best skater out there playing long-term. And then another issue we can talk about is Jacob Markstrom on that team has not performed. He's come back from injury. Yeah, but even though coming back from injury, you're not playing up to par with an 87% save percentage. Sure, 5 wins in 8 games, but when your team's giving you 3.3 a night, that's really saving you, I think, a lot of the time personally. You actually make this a lot easier. I'm not going to lie, because you're pulling up the stats. I don't think keep switching through screens. That's ESPN Fantasy. Yeah, if you didn't watch football today, Josh Allen had 6 total touchdowns. The absolute maniac. Jesper Bratt with 12 assists so far this year, 17. Devin Cooley. I knew he was playing good. Devin Cooley, he's a goalkeeper over for Calgary. He has 5 games this year. He's giving up less than 2 goals per game, has a 93% save percentage. I'm doing this on a whim. He's pulling up some of the things because we're talking about league leaders for a lot of it. Dustin Wolf has 413 total saves. Jesus Christ. But here, we are from South Florida. This is an NHL podcast. We'll go talk about the Panthers a bit. And we're going to talk about the issues that we're having. Goals for, goals against. The Ducks have that many goals for. They're 5th in the league. Jesus. They're tied for 4th with the Hurricanes. Jesus. Hey, shout out the Bruins, by the way. First in the Atlantic, and they're putting up a ton of goals. Happy with them. How many points are they on? 24 points? Yeah, but they're already on 20 games played. Yeah, they're already on 20 games played, though. All right, we'll move on to the Panthers. We'll talk about a team that a lot of you watching are going to care about. This year, the Florida Panthers have not had Matthew Tkachuk all year and have not had Alexander Barkov all year. And I think as Panthers fans, I think we kind of took for granted how much we need Barkov on this team. Every Panther fan will tell you Barkov is a top 3 player in the league. Etsu's had a good year so far, yeah. Oh, wow. What is it? He's been minus once in the last 30 days. Oh, Etsu's like
plus a point streak outside that one game.
Yeah, Etsu's had a very good stretch there. Let's be honest. The only standout line we've had this year is that third line, because we need to talk about these Panthers. 27th in the league in goals scored with 49. They're 13th in goals allowed, which you can live with if you're scoring goals with 53. 20% on the power play. That's about where the Panthers are. They're not a good power play team. 79% on the PK is not good enough for the Florida Panthers. In the penalty minutes, they're 12th most in the league, 175. Thank God that Battle of Florida game was in the preseason, or Jesus Christ, we'd be so far in first. But back to Barkov. What we're seeing is every Florida Panther fan will tell you, Alexander Barkov, without a doubt, is a top 5 player in hockey, just for everything he does. But I think we're starting to see is, wow, we really don't have an offense in the ozone without Barkov. Because what we're starting to see is Lundell's trying. They're keeping Lundell on the Etulo, Sturinen, and Brad Marchand line, and they're putting him on the first power play. And they're trying to be like, all right, we've warmed up into the season. You're going out there. You're doing a lot of the Barkov stuff now, and I think Lundy's done very good at it. But it's not Barkov. He's not. He's baby Barkov. There's a reason it's baby Barkov and not Barkov 2.0. This team doesn't have a creator on that first line. And I think it's really – Sam Reinhart's carried his own weight, but I don't think you're seeing the best Sam Reinhart you could. And I think Barkov brings out the best Sam Reinhart, because now Sam Reinhart's having to take over the roles. Not just the goal scorer that might make that extra pass and then someone shelves it like Carter Verhaeghe or Erod if they bump him onto that first line. I think you're starting to see is Sam Reinhart going, all right, I'm a playmaker. They give the puck to me to make something happen. And I think you're finding us struggling because Carter Verhaeghe hasn't been great. Been far from. Sam Bennett's been god-awful. I mean, holy crap. I know you're paying him this money just so he performs in the playoffs, but you can't be one of the hardest watches in sports Sam Bennett this year, 18 games, getting paid what, 8.6 million, I believe. Yeah, 8.6. Yeah, he has 18 games, 5 points, giving you 17 minutes a night. Looking at the numbers here. He hasn't scored a point since November 6th. He scored a goal. He went on a three straight games. He had a point. And then from November 1st to November 6th, there's 3 games. He scored a point in all 3 games. Then after that, we have to go to October 21st. Since October 21st, he has 4 points. The Panthers have played, if I'm counting this right, 11 games since then. What? You're getting paid 8.6? Yeah, guess what? There's a lot of Panthers fans, and you can hear it in the arena now because it's starting to come out. You're starting to see the season ticket holders start making their voice heard about it. It's a tough watching it because he's breaking the zone sometimes, and you're like, oh, okay, you just have to put it on net here. And he's putting it like to his backhand because he's scared to throw it on net because he doesn't want to miss the goal or something. I don't know. He's hesitating, questioning everything he does. It's a really hard watch. But I'll be honest, one of the not hard watches this year has been Brad Marchand. He's been on an absolute tear. 17 games, he has 12 goals and 9 assists. That's 21 points in the year. He's giving you 18 minutes a night. And let's just say, yeah, he's on a bit of a point streak. If I'm counting this right, that's 11 straight games with a point. He has scored a point in every game he's played in since, October 21st. What a date. Sam Bennett gets 1 point October 21st, and then Marchand goes off. I think the best line that we have right now is our third line. That's really becoming our first line, would you say? Because of how many minutes they're getting now, is that Eetu Luostarinen, Brad Marchand, and Lundell line. And if you haven't watched enough of the Panthers, you might go, "Oh, how is that line working so well?" Oh, I've kind of heard of Lundell, like he's not a household name yet. We'll talk about Cole. I know that's your boy. You might have heard of Lundell, like maybe you're like, oh, I don't know that he's like the superstar or everything. I don't know that much about him, or maybe you'll talk about, you don't really know about Eetu Luostarinen because guess what? He's not a household name in the NHL. But yeah, I know all about Brad Marchand. I got to watch his 1,000-point in person. So did the guy next to me. It was freaking sick. All the players rushing on the ice. It was awesome. But what happens is Lundell and Luostarinen are 2 of the best defensive forwards in hockey. That's what the Panthers have. That's why the forecheck's so good, because when it's fully healthy, your 2 best defensive lines is Barkov and Reinhart on the forecheck and Lundell and Luostarinen on the forecheck. Those are 4 of the top 20 defensive forwards in hockey. So getting through that is a hellhole. But what's happening is Marchand gets to sit at the blue line all game because he looks back and goes, oh, Lundell and Luostarinen are not letting anyone pass. When was the last time, Liam? Because he's a season ticket holder. He goes to even more games than I do by a mile. When was the last time you saw Lundell and Luostarinen and Brad's line give up a goal?
Yeah, definitely not often.
It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And that doesn't matter what defensive pairings out there.
Brad doesn't lose the puck.
It doesn't. And Brad, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for signing that contract because we'd be dead if we didn't have you. Everyone, next time Brad posts something on social media, just put prayer hands. Didn't they call it the high five now? Is that prayer hands? Like a high five? That's awful. It's prayer hands. One guy I need to give a shout out to because I questioned him early this year, coming into this year, because he was really only staying up before Barkov, I thought, but has had a good impact, is Mackie Samoskevich. This man has been flying around the ice. I wish you're pulling up the stats real quick for that one, huh? I know he hasn't scored a point, but here's the thing though, because you can attest to this. When he's out there, it feels like something's going to happen though every time. Because the difference between Mackie and Sam Bennett this year, whenever Mackie Samoskevich is out there, it feels like there's a point to him being out there. There's a result. 18 games, he has 8 points. He's -7. That's Carter Verhaeghe. Yeah, I told you he's been awful. Give me Mackie's stats real quick. But Maggie, every single time you go out there, you go, oh, there's a point. He's putting a shot on net. Oh, he's bringing it in deep and passing it off for someone to get a shot. Because the first line, I thought our best first line, I think this year was going to be. Oh, it's 18 point. It's 18 games. Sorry, 9 points, but he's +2, 35 shots in 18 games, and this is his first full year. It's his rookie year, and this was going to be our line. Our first line was going to be Sam Reinhart, Alexander Barkov, Mackie Samoskevich, because I think if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if my thinking's wrong, probably, I think we were going to trade either Erod or Carter Verhaeghe. We aren't going to keep both of them. One of them has to go. Erod, I think, shows heart, but he goes missing at times. Carter Verhaeghe, he's getting paid a lot of money, and we see him mess up a lot. It's just boneheaded mistakes a lot of the time. I'm gonna be honest, us only having 49 goals, I put a lot of blame on Verhaeghe because we've seen him score 40 in a Panthers jersey. So guess what? I'm not saying you score 40 every year. That'd be an absurd thing to say. He's not a top, he's not like an all-star or anything, but I expect 30 from a guy who's known in the league as a goal scorer. He's not known as a good playmaker. He doesn't make things for others. He's not known to really get back on defense all that much. He's only known as, he's got a really good wrister. Like, he doesn't have a crazy one-time. We're just not getting it. He's pulling up. Oh, these are Carter Verhaeghe's career stats. So he's been with the Panthers since 2020 and 2021. 43 games, 18 goals. I'll take 43 games, 18 goals. 74 games, 24 goals. Then he goes 81 games, 42 goals. We got a guy now. We got a guy. We got someone to pass it to. We didn't realize that Sam Reinhart was Sam Reinhart at that time. 76 games, 34 goals. And then last year, 81 games, 20 goals. Wow. So if you're not a Panthers fan, you probably don't know this. Panthers fans will attest to this. We were already starting to back off for Verhaeghe last year. 18 games, 2 goals. I read that correctly, right? Yeah. 18 games, 2 goals. My question is, what do we think we can get back for Carter Verhaeghe? Because he's held in very high acclaim around the league. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup winner, a 40-goal scorer, and he's been on the top line for 4 years on a 3-time Stanley Cup team. What do you think you can get for him? Because you have to get a player. We're at the point where you can't get picks, right? I'm talking to you guys, and I'm talking to him, I'm talking to myself. I don't know. And I don't even know what you look for. Do you look young? You'd have to look young, you think? Like, you can't.
Marshy for him.
Huh?
Not have Marshy for him.
Yeah, right. You can't have Marshy, but like.
Bennett's doing nothing.
I have a good question. If anyone here, I can see your comments, by the way, if you type anything. So if you want to say something, you're more than welcome to. But I have my idea. You can't get rid of Bennett. Bennett can't go anywhere. No one's going to take that contract without they're playing, and they know it's just for the playoffs. Carter Verhaeghe, and let's say 2 seconds. Do you think you could work that into a Matthew Boldy? You don't think so? It's just it's really hard to find the cast. Sorry, we might have something good here. Adam Fantilli. I would love Adam Fantilli on the Panthers, by the way, because he fits the system so perfect. Oh my God! All right, I don't hate it though. So my compass has brought up a very, very interesting name here.
Salaries similar. They waited to
him. Yeah, he's brought up the name Brock Besser. It's the same player, but I know Brock Besser will actually score consistently. It's a great point. That's a great target. But you would get more, I think, for Verhaeghe than Besser. Do you think you think you'd have to be straight up? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's really fair. And then I want to end this talking about a man in particular that I watched in person for the first time in my life, and boy, was I disappointed in what I watched. Alexander Ovechkin. He's 41 now, correct? 41? Guys, I'll be honest with you. It was a tough watch. I didn't see him play an ounce of defense. The only time I saw him go into the defensive zone is because Gustav Forsling, Anton Lundell, sorry, gave him a little hip check, and Ovechkin tried to lay him out because of it. I saw him go out for a 40-second shift, right? And it wasn't, and you're like, 40 seconds, that's a normal NHL shift. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, maybe guys are gassed after it, but Washington Capitals' current slip continues. The team's power play is currently the third worst in the NHL, just 1 for 11, and he's supposed to be a power play specialist. I think the biggest issue I've seen with Ovechkin, especially now in person, he went out for a 40-second shift, and he didn't leave the neutral zone once. He didn't go play defense, didn't put a stick in, skated kind of board to board. Nothing crazy, though. And he gets, and this is the first period, by the way. We're like 10 minutes into the first period. This is the second shift. And God, it genuinely, he couldn't stop deep breathing. You would have thought he just played a 4-minute shift and he's in second overtime. Where's that? Oh, Carolina, he had 14-minute time on ice. That's terrible. What's this? What's the stat next to it? Production. He only gave you productive minutes for 7 minutes of it. I don't know what that means, but whatever. Stupid stats. Oh, he gave you no productive time against the Panthers. Yep, that's realistic. I can tell you that for a fact. He has -2 against the Panthers. That should tell you all the defensive time he does. But for 40 seconds, he puts out a shift, and he is dying. Liam, can you attest to this? I mean, this guy is it. He needs to retire. He's got 900 now. Awesome. He beat the Gretzky record. That was one of the coolest things to watch live ever on TV. But Jesus Christ, this dude played 14 minutes and only skated for 10 of them. He has 14 points. Yeah, but you take that. The issue I have is he has 5 goals and he only tries to shoot. Yeah, but look, McKinnon's going to win the Hart. McDavid's going to finish with 118 points probably. Panthers are going to sneak into the playoffs. Barkov's going to miraculously come back. Kachuk's going to finish over a point per game in the regular season. Brad Marchand's going to finish with 88 points. And Alexander Ovechkin's going to retire, and thankfully for his legacy, he retires. Because it is a tough watch. I applaud you to go watch a Capitals game, and whenever they show visibly of the bench and Ovechkin's on there, you're going to see him doing this. He's bent over. He's not on camera. He's not on camera because he's bent over breathing after a 40-second shift where he never left the neutral zone. It's terrible. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a great one. We got another one-timers next week. Beast of the Week was Jason Robertson. Huge shout out to Matthew Schaefer for breaking an NHL record. You don't get to see that every day, especially in the NHL. Oh, and huge shout out to Zach Hyman. Hopefully he saves some fantasy teams out there because Jesus Christ. Luckily, I'm not doing fantasy hockey this year, but I probably would have needed it knowing my fantasy hockey